I'm Melanie Muenchinger, illustrator for Gina K Designs. Today I'm going to be sharing a technique with you from my book, Fabulous Stamp Frames, Creative Greeting Card Designs and Inspiration from Annie's Paper Crafts. This is a tutorial stamping book. It has 36 projects in it, and the tutorial that I want to show you today is actually going to be spotlighting. And there are many ways to do spotlighting, many variations on this technique. But basically what you're trying to do is bring attention to certain portions of an image. And I'm going to show you how my different frame sets allow you to divide up the image into different parts and then bring attention to them. It's a really cool look. This particular sample uses my Fun Year Round stamp set, but today I'm going to be showing you how you can learn this technique from the book and then apply it to other stamp sets that you have. So the products that you're going to need to complete this are my Inspiration Mosaic stamp set from Gina K Designs. Has this really large geometric frame with these big openings for greetings or for images. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to just put that in. You're also going to need, and this stamp set is featured in the book, you're also going to need a large 6x6 block. And I've had people write to me and say that they have a hard time stamping with a block this big, holding it. I'm going to show you how you can do it with the stamp base up. That's a really easy way to ink it. You're also going to need some cardstock, extra blocks for your extra images that you're going to be stamping with for the spotlighting technique. This pine cone is from my Stately Flowers 6 set from Gina K Designs. Just using 2 ink pads today, the Gina K Black Onyx and the Gina K Dark Sage. And then 2 Copic markers. I'm going to be using E37 and E43. So very minimal supplies and no embellishments. You're going to see how this stamp is really going to bring a lot of design to your card very quickly. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ink it up with the black pad. And I always ink up these large frame stamps with it facing up, going down onto it with the pad, just so I can make sure that I'm getting the whole thing covered. And I'm going to tilt it in the light to make sure that I've gotten all those edges. Then I'm going to take my cardstock and I'm just going to place it lightly onto there. And I'm just going to real gently, I don't want to rub it around, but hold it down with one hand and then press and then trade off. When I feel like I've gotten the whole thing, I'm just going to turn it over. Okay, you have a perfect image there. So I'm going to set this aside. All right, now I have some greetings also from that Stately Flowers 6 set. And for little tiny ones, you don't always have to put the greetings into these large boxes. If you have a smaller word, it looks great just to stamp it in one of these little corners. So I'm just going to nestle it right into that little box right there. So I'm going to start with this Love You. And the reason I place my sentiments first is so that I make sure that my greeting is going to be easily read. If I stamp my images over the place where I want my greeting, that's going to be difficult to read. So I start with the greeting. Okay, and then I'm adding this little dad. This is going to be a very masculine card. Okay, clear stamps make it so easy. Even just like that, it looks pretty cool. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up this pine cone with this dark sage. And if you ink it up in a dark green, you don't have to color the needles. So that's one thing I really like about this image, and I like using this color ink for. All right, so I'm just going to go right over the grid and see with a clear stamp I can see how the greeting is nestling right in there where the pine cone is. So I'm going to stamp it and lift it. Okay, I'm going to ink it one more time. Okay, and I'm just going to flip it so that then this way the little Love You can nestle in there like that. Okay. All right. That looks pretty sharp too, in my opinion. Okay. But let's go ahead and color it, and this is where the spotlighting part comes in. So what I'm going to do is I am only going to color the portions inside this box and this box. And you could also easily choose, if the portion that you wanted to highlight, do it in this box or in this box. But this was my plan, and that's going to have it balanced. The brown and the brown are going to be offset really nicely there. So I'm going to take this lighter brown, and real quickly I'm just going to go in to all those little pieces on the pine cone, and I'm not really worrying about if I get those tips, because that's where your highlight would be anyway. Okay, so just very quickly fill it in. Okay, and then I'm just going to do just the side of that pine cone inside the box. Okay, so it's almost like you're putting a magnifying glass over it and just really focusing on those areas. Now I'm going to go back in with this dark brown, concentrating on where the concentrated lines are in my image to create those shadows. So I already have those in the image for you. Okay. And it really needs this second shade so that it doesn't look flat with that one brown. And then you can go back in with the lighter one, and you see how that's just blending in there. For a more blended look, you can do tip-to-tip coloring, which means you hold your lighter marker, get just a little bit off the ends there, and you're creating an in-between shade. That's it. So then what I would do is I would just trim that down if I wanted to take those sides off, and put it onto a cardstock base. Here is my finished card. I also have this warm cocoa base if you want to add more color. You see how easy that was, and very minimal supplies. I hope you like this technique, and I will be sharing more videos from my book. Thanks for watching.